morning. It's the morning show with Kelly and Barbara. Barbara seems to be getting into her groove this morning.
I know. The opening bumper, and I was just like, yeah, this is my jam.
It has been for about 7 weeks now. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's, I go to bed going, I should make it my alarm tone.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help me get up in the morning.
It's just like, oh, are we live? Speaking of live and rising and shining, if you joined us at First Light this morning, 7:30, with our first workout of the day, that was a lot of fun.
It was, and then Safil popped on in to guide you through your uppercut boxing workout. Hopefully you're feeling all strong and boxy.
Okay, as a boxing instructor, like seriously, did you just say strong and boxy?
I did, yeah.
Right.
I did.
Okay, then we've got In Your House with Raj Kumar coming up a little bit later on at 12 o'clock to keep you entertained. And then, of course, House Athletics giving you an afternoon stretch at 3 p.m. before you get cooking with Ben Logan at 8.
That's right. Let's get down to the numbers and see what's been going on the slightly more serious side of things. We've had 533 new cases, 4 community cases comprising of 3 Singaporeans and PRs, 1 work pass holder. We've had 529 cases in the dorms. Again, 99% linked to known clusters, which is absolutely fantastic. That's been a pretty consistent number lately, actually.
That is true. Like, it's nice to see that we're slowly making progress. Apparently, Singapore and New Zealand are going to be having talks about opening up the borders for tourism because they've seen that both countries...
Initially it'll be for essential travel.
Yes, but it's nice. It's like
a holiday
we could
is essential,
potentially
right?
have a travel holiday, like, get on a plane. What is this?
Okay, Australia, we need to get you on a chat, okay? This needs to happen between just the 3 countries, it's fine. Australia, New Zealand, Singapore.
Right.
That is my input.
No personal agenda there. Absolutely not.
None at all.
Let's take a look at what's coming up today. It is Tough Nut Thursday, of course, so we only bring in the toughest nuts of all. We've got Mason.
That's right, Mason Town, active health coach, here to guide me through my sleep and tell us the importance and some stretches that you can do to improve your sleep, which I need because I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning, my mind just buzzing, and couldn't get back to sleep until about 3:30.
Now, interesting, if you'd actually tuned in yesterday, you would have heard the SG Super Nanny, Zoe Chu, telling us a little bit about blue light blockers for your eyes.
Which Kelly and I now have.
And we've now gone and bought glasses. Simply because apparently, especially at night, just watching the telly and all of that, blue light blockers, just by wearing them,
it makes you think that you're awake.
Yeah, like I kind of knew this, but I didn't know this, so I think it's good to hear it from an expert.
Sometimes you just need the pro to tell you, get a pair of blue light glasses, like, oh, I can justify that money now.
Alrighty, who else do we have coming up on the show?
We've also got Beckie Liu coming in our chat. She's one of the Team Singapore surfers. She's based in Bali, so she's getting the tan that all of us wish we had.
Yep. It's also nice to hear a different perspective. I mean, in Singapore, we know what the situation is like here, so it's nice to hear from a Singaporean overseas. And Bali is obviously a top destination on all of our minds that we would like to explore and go back to, but we don't know when. So it's nice to hear from what life and situation is like over there at the moment.
That's right. As always, we've got giveaways happening on each of our morning show episodes. Today, we've got vouchers from Fry Bistro.
Right.
Sorry, my bad. Clearly haven't had enough sleep. See, this is what happens when you don't get 9.5 hours.
Anyway, all you have to do in order to walk away with that $25 voucher is to like and follow the Get Active TV Facebook page, share the morning show onto your page, and then tell us, what is your favorite appetizer?
Deep fried mozzarella cheese sticks. I don't know why I had to sing that. It felt like a good thing to do.
Right. Right, I don't know. For me, it's like the jalapeno cheesy poppers.
Ooh.
Right, deep fried with like, just...
Or like those pepper poppers, the ones that
That's
are
what
kind
I'm
of...
talking about.
Not the cheesy ones, just the ones that are lightly salted, they've been in the oven, and they're all a bit shriveled up and...
You mean like pimientos?
Yes, that's the one that I'm talking about. See, this is why we're sisters.
Right.
I briefly, very badly describe what I like, and she just knows.
Yeah. Speaking of just knowing, we know exactly what you need and want. So if you want those Fry Bistro vouchers, then all you got to do is just like, share, and comment. That's all you need to do. Super simple. Make sure you get to it. What is your favorite appetizer? I want to know. I really want to know, actually.
Yeah.
I like
Sometimes
knowing.
you get inspiration from other people's taste buds.
Exactly. Anyway, we're going to pop off for a
you
short...
can cook it and send some over to the house.
Right.
Thanks.
You're welcome. We're going to pop off for a short break. When we return, though, Barbara is going to be getting some sleep tips from Mason, who clearly knows more about getting a good night's rest than Barbara does. Don't go away. This is The Morning Show with Kelly and Barbara.
Step right up, draw the next cut. You're one of the black animals, so get along with everybody else. Is this ship sinking? I've been thinking. Always sinking. I've been thinking. Been a little time to get along. A wake-up call, throw the next up. Be one of a kind, original. Don't be another sign of the times. Fight. Wanna know the secret? We get on. Wanna know the secret? We get on. Try to find the feeling we belong. It's all for one and all for fun.
Good morning and welcome back to The Morning Show with Kelly and Barbara. Kelly's popped off, but I've got active health coach Mason Tan in the studio with me. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
Good. Getting used to circuit breaker now, but it's ending, so.
I was going to say getting used to it, but then
Yeah.
we're going to stop that. Now that you're getting used to it, we're going to stop it. Thank you so much for coming in today. So we had a chat. If you tuned in yesterday, you would have seen that we had SG Super Nanny. She chatted with us this week on the importance of sleep as well, and you're here to re-emphasize that because clearly I need it, and I'm hoping that I managed to cover up all my eye bags today. So before that, let's get to know you a little bit more. So you're an active health coach. What do you do? What is your jam?
So I'm in the active health labs that we've got 8 across Singapore. We run different services for the public to join, focusing on 4 domains: physical activity, screen time, sleep, and nutrition.
Okay.
So we run different classes, get to know yourself a bit better as an assessment, and you come in for other classes that we've got. So the workshops that cater to sleep, nutrition, screen time, so helping people get healthier, a bit more active as we go along the way from there.
Awesome.
Yep.
And as we slowly resume to like the new normal, where do people, find more information about this? Or
So you can go online to activehealth.sg. So it's essentially moved our face-to-face sessions in the lab to the virtual platform.
Yeah.
So now people can just sign up, join a Zoom session at a different timings. So the exercise class, you've got webinars on sleep, nutrition coming up as well.
screen time,
So,
as
yep.
you're on screen time.
Yeah.
Like I say,
So-
Kelly and I just bought our blue light glasses, so we're getting our eyes covered. Okay, so you guys talk a lot about like a sleep routine and the importance of that. What exactly is a sleep routine, and why is it so important? Like, surely I just need to go to bed, get some hours in, and that's it, right?
No, so routines are important not just for sleep, but for your daily lives. It gives you some form of control and consistency, so you kind of know what to expect.
Okay.
And mentally you're prepped to do that thing you need to do in the day. So it can be simply like waking up, brushing your teeth. That's something you just do without really thinking too much. But when it comes to sleep, the routine is important because it helps you build up that flow to knowing it's bedtime, get yourself ready to go to sleep. So if you try to finish your work straight away, lie down in bed, and try to go to sleep, it's probably not going to work. You're probably still quite turned on in the head,
Brain
and
is
you're
just
like switched
charged
on,
up,
and you're like
yeah.
you're thinking about the next day. If you're going through your to-do list for the next day without trying to write it down,
Oh, yeah.
your brain can only do so much
Yeah.
before you try to go to sleep. So having that routine sets the pace. People do it. It really depends. So it differs from individuals. Some may need a little bit more time to wind down. Some may need just a little bit shorter time to get through the prep to the night before they go to sleep. So having that routine will help you ensure you get a fixed sleep time and awake time as well. It helps with the body clock synchronization as well from there.
Awesome. So what does a sleep routine consist of?
So,
and how can it help with my sleep or the quality of it?
So if you want to have a routine to ensure that on weekdays through to the weekends, you're sleeping at the same time, as much as possible, waking up at the same time as well. We tend to go to bed quite disciplined on the weekdays, but then when the weekends come, we might go to bed a lot later, wake up a lot later as well.
Yeah.
And when Monday comes back, we struggle a lot more to try and get up. So with that routine, it helps you make sure that, okay, maybe in the 1 hour before sleep, you try to turn down the lights or you move away your screens. You read a book, hard copy book, for example. Some people might do stretches, some might write down in a journal. So it preps you for sleep, so that's important, but you need to find what works for you.
So it's almost like doing things that lets your mind realize, I'm getting ready for bed
Yeah.
now. I'm getting ready to unwind
Yeah.
and zone out.
Yes. So
Okay.
the lights are important. I think Zoe talked about it yesterday as well. So
Yeah.
if you start to dim the lights closer to bedtime, it kind of signals to your body that it's time for bed. If you get yourself ready to go to sleep, you kind of know, right? You just wait for that routine. So like kids, you kind of have that routine. You put them to sleep.
Yeah.
You make sure you read them a bedtime story, say goodnight to the soft toys, and then you go
That's
to sleep
their
from there.
routine.
So yeah.
And it's interesting because it does require, I think, a little bit more discipline for adults. You know, we've got things to do, we've got work that needs to be finished. When we were younger, when we were kids, all the way I think until, you know, you're in secondary school,
Yeah.
you have your parents nagging at you,
Yeah.
go to bed, this is it. Whereas now, you know, we don't have that same level of discipline because everything else seems to take a more of a priority.
From there.
Okay.
So we got to make sleep a priority.
It is important.
Yeah. So you kind of got to work backwards to fix up your schedule for the day. as
And
well.
what are some other things that we can look out for to get a better quality of sleep each night?
You want to make sure you're trying to avoid caffeine 6 hours before bedtime.
6 hours. I stopped
Yeah.
drinking caffeine at like 2 p.m. That's
Yep.
my cutoff point.
Yeah, so that's good because caffeine has a half-life of up to 6 hours. So if you're taking it too close to the evening, so sometimes you want to go for an evening workout after work,
Yeah.
and you need the hit, so you take that caffeine, but then it might just stay on in the system for a bit too long.
Is it true that if you work out hard enough, it kind of like burns off the caffeine?
Not exactly, no.
Right, because people say that, and I'm like, I am not buying it because I still feel wired if I did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it still stays in the
Myth
system.
debunked.
It stays in the system for 6 hours. And then if you want to go in to make sure that you're getting your screen-free time, so you can set an alarm on your phone, right, to make sure that you know when to switch off from your screens. It could be some people have a warm shower because that brings the temperature of your body up. But in about 90 minutes or so, as it starts to drop the body temperature, it kind of signals your brain to go to sleep. So a cooler temperature helps to set that reminder in your head. So a cool room or comfortable temperature will help you sleep as well. So you prep for the next day. So a lot of things you can do as part of the sleep hygiene checks, right? So you make
Yeah.
sure you do all this. But I think everybody just needs to make sure that you choose that one that disrupts your sleep the most. So you focus on that one thing first and slowly build up to more.
Right, okay. Right,
From
so
there.
I think for me it's definitely screen time and a to-do list. Like if I do my to-do list right before I go to bed,
Yep.
then that's all I think about. So I need to make sure that happens way earlier. Okay, so I just want to reiterate, just in case people didn't catch the show yesterday, what are the recommended hours of sleep? I'm still seeking validation that I need 9.5 hours.
So 7 to 9 for your adults, 18 to about
9.5,
6.
that's also okay, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but if you get the half an hour extra to slowly drift off to sleep, then that's fine.
There we
And
go.
everybody's sleep needs are different. So some do really well with 7, some may need 9, some need 9.5 from there. So that's what you should be aiming for. Consistency throughout Mondays all the way to your Sundays, and not just making sure Mondays to Fridays and then weekends you go in with 12 because you missed out 2 hours of sleep each night during the
Yes.
weekdays. So keeping it consistent is the most important thing. That's why your routine comes in.
Quick question. Well, how about the that theory of your sleep bank? So if you're sleep deprived one night and then we sleep extra after that to make up for it, is that like a real thing?
Short-term wise, it helps you get a little bit more focus, but you kind of lose the benefits of the night before. So you can't really get that back. So the research is still being split between whether you can fully get back what you lost in the night before. But if you start to say that you can get your sleep back, then people start to not care about the weekdays and they try to sleep in on the weekends.
Okay.
So you go in the wrong way. And
it's
then
not a long-term solution.
Yeah.
If you've had a short night because of the inevitable,
Yeah.
and you want to catch up on that rest, that's fine,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be a long-term
Yeah.
habit.
Correct.
Awesome. Now, you've come in today saying that you've got some stretches that
Yep.
can aid with getting a better form of sleep. I want to see these stretches.
All right, so we probably sat down a lot more these days in front of our computer. So the simple ones to look out for would be the hip flexors. Right, we probably sat a lot. This gets quite tight, and if you try to go for runs and all that, you don't get that full range of motion coming in as well. So a very simple one. You're just going to take one foot forward, knee rests on the ground. Make sure the glutes are engaged. All right, and then as you slowly just tilt the body forward, you will feel a stretch here.
Okay.
Right, just hold that stretch for about 15 to 30 seconds. Then you just do your normal deep breathing, and just helps you through. Right, once you're done, you can switch over to the other side. And then if you need to, you can just put a towel or a cushion just
For the knee.
for the knee, and then just make sure you get that stretch in.
And
from
these
there.
are things that can be done like just before bed?
Yeah, you can do it before bed. You can do it in breaks between work. So if it's set for 30 minutes or more, I would just get up and move a little bit just
Okay.
to ease off the strains and all that.
Stiffness and stuff like that.
From there.
Okay.
So those are the hip flexors. And then the next one would be one for the glutes as well. I'll do the gluteal stretch. So you just got to get one leg forward, cross this one over.
Okay.
So your right leg goes over, left arm pulls the knee towards the chest.
To hug it nice and
Yeah.
tight.
So the right arm can be at the back, and then just twist it in. So you should start to feel it in the glutes. So if I switch it over on this side,
Yeah.
pull it in, and just get the stretch in.
Nice long spine
there.
at the same time.
Yeah, from
and
there.
how essential is come back and sit. How essential is breathing when we're doing these kind of things?
So you want to make sure you don't hold your breath as you're stretching. You just want to relax as much as possible. So deep breathing in and out at your own pace. And actually something that you can do if you find it quite hard to go to sleep. We might toss and turn a little bit. So deep breathing techniques, just lying down in bed, could also help put you a little bit more relaxed state. So you could go with 4 seconds and then 4, 7, 8. So deep breathe in for 4 seconds.
I've heard of this 4, 7, 8.
Yeah. And then hold it for 7 seconds and then breathe out slowly for 8 seconds. So usually what I would do if I find it hard to sleep, I'll just focus a lot on the breathing as one aspect that I could do. To help
All right,
with that.
now as we wrap things up, do you have any special routine that is uniquely yours? Because you know all the theory, all the science behind it. I want to know, do you have anything special that you do in particular?
At night, I try to read a book, a hard copy book.
How much of the book do you read? Because I feel the danger is with reading a book, I'd be like, yeah, I'll just read a couple of pages. 2 hours later, I'm halfway through the book.
I would set probably a timer. So if I'm going to sleep, then I kind of set a 15 minutes or half an hour. So I kind of time it out from there.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
That's
Or
your
if the
jam.
chapters are short, I'll try and finish the chapter because that bugs me. If I stop halfway through, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. So that little bit more, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just be flexible about your routines because you're not supposed to give you more stress. It's supposed to help you cope with stress. So
Awesome. Well, thank you
from
so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
for
That was
having
very,
me.
very enlightening. We are going to pop off for a short break, but when we come back, we've got Beckie Liu on Zoom chatting about what life is like in Bali. So go anywhere.
Step right up, draw the next card. You water the pipe, we're animals, so get along with everybody else. Is this ship sinking? I've been thinking. Always thinking. I've been thinking. One of these days you're gonna be. One of these days I'm gonna feel this haze. A wake-up call, throw the next up. Be one of a kind, original. Don't be another sign of the times. Fight. Wanna know the secret? We get on. Wanna know the secret? We get on. Try to find the feeling we belong. It's all for one and all for fun.
Hello and welcome back to the morning show with Kelly and Barbara. We've had some great chats this Tough Nut Thursday, but it's only about to get better.
It
always
is.
gets better.
When we think about Tough Nut Thursdays, we always think about people that have overcome adversity, that have gone through rough times, or that are really showing their mental mettle in terms of dealing with situations. And currently, with COVID still around, obviously things are easing up. Circuit breaker is on the cusp of ending.
But at the same time, it's not quite.
Yeah, before we
There's
enter
not
phase
that much
one.
difference in phase one.
Yeah, but that being said, there are still Singaporeans who are overseas and who have been living a very different kind of life to what we have been experiencing here in Singapore. To share a little bit more about that life is founder of Haikini, Singaporean, Team Singapore surfing athlete, Beckie Liu. Hello, Beckie.
Hi guys, nice to see you all.
It's very nice to see you. Look at you all sun-kissed, getting the tan that we all wish we had.
So Beckie, you're in Bali at the moment, hey?
Yeah.
So you moved to Bali actually quite a while ago, full time. So
yes.
what spurred
I
the decision to move over?
Because I just can't be away from surfing. And whenever I was back in Singapore, I would just be like, okay, when is my next trip? How can I kind of like construct a life for myself where I am able to surf to my heart's content? And I just found that by doing Haikini. So as I started doing Haikini, I was like, okay, this is kind of like a passion project. I'm just gonna try it out. But then as like the company grew, I was like, oh, actually moving to overseas is actually quite a viable option. So I decided to move last May in 2019.
And a lot of people in Bali do that, don't they? They try and find a way to move there. So you have a lot of people who are actually working and creating remote offices and working virtually.
If I could host events from Bali, trust me, I would be there too.
Right, okay, but what I'm saying is what you guys have done in Bali is essentially what everyone's having to do in Singapore at this point in time, working virtually, remotely, but how have you adapted to it and how has it worked for you?
Honestly, it has been the same for me since like 2017. I've been like working from home since 2017. So when like people ask me how has COVID impacted your work, like in terms of like working schedule, I said like not much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's reassuring. So Haikini does an amazing range of, well, predominantly surf-related swimwear, which doesn't budge. So it stays on when you're surfing. And obviously that's related to what you do and what you love. But as a Singaporean overseas, how are you coping and what's it like in Bali at the moment?
Let
In
us live
Bali at the
vicariously
moment,
through you.
oh, can you see? Sorry. In Bali at the moment, it's still pretty chill. We don't have lockdown as strict as Singapore. But the authorities are just kind of urging people to stay home more and stop mass gatherings. A lot of restaurants have closed. A lot of events that were supposed to happen, like for music events, music festivals, they've all canceled. So also like the people have just left, went back to their home country. Traffic's a lot smoother, so that's good. And yeah, like the pace of life has just slowed down by a lot.
And that's saying something because it's not like Bali was all hustle and bustle in the first place, you know?
Yeah. And what's it like? Obviously, you're not coming back to Singapore. You're staying in Bali, especially during this period. So how is it like not being able to come back and see the family at a drop of a hat?
Honestly, it's been tough because I try to come back to Singapore every 1 month or 2 months and just spend a few days there or maybe a week there with my friends and family. That's always been like my routine. This is the first time I've been gone for so long. I actually haven't been home since I think like end Jan or February, because when I came to Bali, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Philippines for Haikini's launch in the Philippines and then come back to Bali and then do Singapore. So I can at least take a break from traveling and come home and see my family. So, but the thing is that like I'm really lucky because I have like my support group here. I have close friends in Bali. I've been in Bali I've been coming here since 6 years ago. So I have like developed strong ties to the locals here and also have like my strong support group. So in that sense, I'm still like pretty settled being here and I'm pretty happy.
So speaking of the locals and sort of running your business, obviously with COVID, people aren't spending as much as they normally would, but you've done your best to try and support the industry and to support the locals in Bali, haven't you?
Yes. So I think that like COVID was a good time for me to kind of bring things back and look at like the core of my business. What is it all about? And for me, like kindness to not just like people, but to the environment, to your community has always been like one of the key philosophies that I hold as a business. So with this pandemic happening, I'm just like, okay, I am able to give back. So I will, because I feel that when I'm in Singapore, I get caught up with like, okay, how much sales are you doing? Like, how are you growing as a business? You know, like, I think now the good thing is that a lot of people who try to start businesses, they try to do as much good as they can. They don't really want to solely focus on profits, but they want to build like a business with purpose. And that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Since I've started and going forward as COVID ends, like how can I, as a business, help out my like immediate community? And I feel like that's what people have to think, is that kind of reflect on their privileges and what they are able to contribute to their community, their immediate community.
So from this latest collection then, what were the initiatives that you put in place to give back?
So I was talking to my production house. They said that like they have lost majority of their clients due to COVID because a lot of like clients are overseas and there's a lot of like shipping restrictions. So a lot of brands have stopped production at the moment. Mm-hmm. So they had to like lay off some people and scale down their productions. And they're like a family production house. So it's not a big scale thing. So what I tried to do is that, okay, I said that for this new collection, I will like double your income for every bikini produced. So that's what I did with the collection. And it's called the Ohana collection. And if you're a kid, you've watched Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yes.
Ohana family, and family means nobody gets left behind.
Although, that's I want to do it in the Stitch voice.
Go on then.
Ohana. What is it? Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind.
You're gonna
That's
cry.
It's a talent. Making my sister cry.
No, but I think it's so important. And I think one thing that sort of circuit breaker COVID has really shown is a Singaporean's tenacity, drive, and desire to help and support our community and the people around us who aren't as well off as we are as individuals. The fact that people are giving back their solidarity payments, donating it to charity, making sure that they help donate funds and money to support our migrant workers, the stuff that you are doing with Haikini to double the wages of the people who are making your products, like that for me just goes to show that Singaporeans have it within them to give back, but also to show our strength as a community, not just for our own progress, but also for the progress of everybody around us as well.
And it's quite interesting that you bring this up because sometime last week there was someone who posted an article about Singapore in the New York Times, mentioning that how this pandemic has brought out the dark side in Singaporeans, and quite a few people wrote clapback articles, but very well written ones, because she was saying that this has brought out a very selfish side in Singaporeans, and I don't know, just reading her article, it made me feel like actually, if you take a good look around, it has brought out such a generous, kind, and giving side that usually it's not that we don't see, it's just that sometimes people aren't so vocal about expressing, but now we really get to see how people are going out of their ways to help others.
Now, I think just to bring Beckie back into the conversation here, as a surfer, that giving, that sense of community, that sense of wanting to be inclusive and to support the fellow community is something that's really quite prevalent within the surfing community. And that's one of the big reasons why you had your launch in the Philippines as well, right? Back in LU, where you had actually surfed during the SEA Games and represented Singapore.
Yes. So what was the question?
Just sort of like the surfing community as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, because surfing is, you think it's an individual sport, it is, but also at the same time, like when you're surfing, when you're in the water, you have to be aware of other people. You're not alone. And because if you don't respect other people, they're not going to respect you back. So I think a lot of people, when they get into surfing, it's all about catching more waves. But then as you progress as a surfer and you spend more time in the water, you realize that, like surfing is a lifestyle. It's not just about surfing, but it's also about like the local communities, the environment, and just like approach it with like an open heart, with just good vibes. Surfers are all just about good vibes. There's no competition unless it's a competition. But then even during competition, we have that competitive spirit for like maybe 25 minutes, which is the duration of the heat. And then after that, we're like, oh, let's go party.
And sort of as a Team Singapore athlete, how has it been seeing all the competitions sort of disappear left, right, and center?
Right as surfing was getting into the smack of it as well.
Yeah, there was so many like games planned for this year, but then I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna train this month, and that month I'm gonna go to Batu Karas and train longboarding after SEA Games. But then now it's just everything has been put on pause. So I'm just okay. I guess now it's time to just chill and have fun. Yeah, and just don't worry about it too much.
Fair enough. I'll take that.
Sure. And just to wrap us up, if people want to continue to help you contribute back to the communities with Haikini, where can they get themselves a Haikini?
They can just go to www.haikini.co, not .com, .co, and then you can just look at the collection and
Amazing. I think I might be doing some shopping.
Update all of our customers. Yeah, about all of the things that we're doing with the extra income that we've gotten.
Fabulous. Becky, thank you so much for joining us here on this Tough Nut Thursday.
We've got lots more fun stuff coming your way. We're going to pop off for a short break. We'll be right back.
In no way can we compare ourselves to healthcare workers, to those hitting the streets, keeping people safe, but I think we serve a different purpose.
I hope that people can take away a fun new fact or something to help their physical or mental development at this point in time.
Regardless of which industry you're from, we all face the same challenges. If all of us were to stay united and persevere till the end, I'm very sure we'll overcome the whole thing together.
What we as entertainers are trying to do is to sound out to as much people as possible that there is every possibility to move to the next phase of the future with positivity in mind.
We have a much leaner team than any other production that I've worked on. We're doing a lot with very little resources to ensure that we adhere to all of the rules and regulations. I feel like we're serving the needs of Singaporeans currently at home. We are entertaining them, we're giving them ideas, and we're trying to bring the outside world inside. That's something that we feel like the Singaporeans need, and if we don't do it, then who will? Joining us on the morning show, Barbara has gone off to dream of Bali. So interesting just to see how different people are doing different things to help out the communities that they're living in. And someone else who's joining us here today on Tough Nut Thursday, who's helping out the community at large here in Singapore, is Vivien. Vivien, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's not just Vivien that's joining us. Who else do we have on the show today?
Oh, this little girl over here, her name is Hashi. Hashi, say hi.
It's nice to see that. It's nice to see that Hashi's actually maintaining safe distancing measures. Obviously, with COVID in place at the moment, you must mask up. So, Hashi, thank you for wearing your mask today.
Oh, she wants to say hi.
Oh, okay. We're on set. Technically, you can take it off.
Yeah, because we're 1.2 meters apart,
exactly.
so that's fine.
We've got safe distance.
All right.
It's all good. There we go.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Hashi.
Well,
it's nice to have you on the show today. Now, you and your mummy Vivien, we're here to talk a little bit about some initiatives that mummy's been putting in place to help out Grab drivers who maybe don't want to drive on Grab, or people that have turned to driving private hire vehicles. But before we get into that, Vivien, tell us a little bit about Zephyrdom and how your company started, and how this relates to Hashi joining us on the show.
Well, Zephyrdom, I started it when I was 17, going on to 18. That was in 1995. Can you imagine? That was such a long time ago. And we first started as an arts and theatre company, and later on, it expanded to entertainment because entertainment was more fun. Yeah, more fun. Oh yeah. So, I'm a ventriloquist, I'm a clown, I'm also a mime. So that's kind of like a huge jumble of everything. I MC as well. Stop hurting your trumpet. Stop tooting my trumpet. Okay, all right, I'll stop. Okay, well, anyway, Hashi was brought home only yesterday.
Oh, new addition to the family.
Yeah, and the puppet master, Frankie, made her, and wow, she's such a beauty.
She is an absolute beauty. Now,
Yeah.
one of the main reasons we wanted to get
Oh,
you on
I
the show
see.
is
Okay,
because
sit
you,
down, sit
you've sort
down.
of transitioned a little bit. Obviously, events aren't happening.
Yeah.
And shows aren't happening unless you're taking them online, which I'm sure like a lot of the people in the entertainment industry you've been exploring as well. But your skill set of bringing people together within the industry and trying to then help them find work has been transitioned into this whole new avenue, because a lot of people have taken to, especially in the events industry, a lot of them have taken to driving different delivery services, be it Food Panda, Grab Food, Lala Move, but there's always going to be a cut from that. So you decided to do something special. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it all started because of one driver. He was on Gojek, and Gojek doesn't have a Gojek food or something like that. So he was excluded from like Grab Food, which would have helped him, overcome this situation where more than 90% of his fares has disappeared because people are not going out. They can't go out. They're not allowed to go out. Or if they go out, they'll go to nearby places like supermarkets near their houses or provision shops or markets and all. So he was telling me, oh dear, I don't know how am I going to pay my rental for his car. I don't know how I'm going to, buy petrol and still keep driving. So he took to, even staying at home and leaving his Gojek application on. So if something things comes in, right, he would go down and quickly drive out.
Right.
So because he was getting like one call a day.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, I had a friend who was driving for Food Panda, and he said typically before COVID had hit and there was an influx of drivers, he was getting about $4,000 worth of deliveries each month, and he was making a decent living that way.
Yeah.
But since there was an influx of drivers in the industry, his income dropped to about $1,000.
Wow, that's one quarter.
Yeah, so a quarter of his
75%,
income
yeah.
compared to previously, and just because of the sheer numbers. So you decided to create a group where people could maximize how much money they were making from each trip, right?
Yeah, okay. So this whole WhatsApp group was built in one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't expect it to grow so big actually. So I had one WhatsApp group. At first, I started off with one with the requesters and the Grab drivers in the same group. Then I realized that the group was expanding too fast and too many messages kept coming in.
Yeah.
So I switched off the, I put it to admin posts only. And then I realized, oh, we should have another group where all the requesters are there, SMEs, F&B, and all. And so I started a second group for requesters. So requesters one group, drivers one group. So when the requesters request, I forward the message over to the drivers group. So right now we have 5 driver groups.
Wow.
Yeah, so more than 800 drivers.
I was going to say you maxed it out because it's like 250 people per
Yes,
group, right?
only 257 to be exact.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have 5 driver groups right now.
Yep.
1 for vans, 1 for riders, and 3 for PHV vehicle drivers. And I've got 3 requesters groups at the moment. 2 are full, 1 I just started like 2 days ago.
So if anyone wants to join these groups, either as a driver or as someone who needs deliveries, because actually some of my friends were like, okay, I've heard of this group, it's magic, like I need a delivery done immediately, like who can I talk to?
1 minute.
1 minute?
Yes.
That's how fast it is.
Actually, sometimes 10 seconds.
Wow. But I guess because there is the volume there. So when you get something that comes up, do you automatically forward it to?
Yeah.
Because if you've got
I
3
actually
different.
just forward out. Like right now I'm talking to you, so I can't forward, right? So fortunately, I've got one volunteer. This guy called Rusty. He's really nice. And we've never met each other, but he said, okay, I volunteered to help forward messages because during, I think about 1 month back, I was like, it's so overwhelming. I was starting like at 7:30 a.m. The first request comes in, all the way till about 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Goodness.
That's the last request that will come in for the next morning. So it was quite taxing because I wasn't able to do anything at all. Like if I go on a live show, then I'll be worried that, oh dear, there'll be so many messages that I have to forward. So I got another phone for it. just in case I miss a message.
My goodness.
Yeah, so this one will go ding, and then I'll be like, oh dear, fast forward, quick, forward. Yeah.
So what do you get out of this?
Happiness, because I'm helping people. Well, the whole premise of being a clown or being an entertainer is to make people happy. So this is my way during the circuit breaker to actually help two industries, or actually multiple industries, the SME as in one whole industry, and the PHV drivers in another whole industry, help two industries survive the circuit breaker. So I'm hoping that by doing this, it would help balance out so that they can all fight in a fair arena with the big boys. Because the big boys, they have delivery services, they have a whole delivery fleet. But you know, as a SME, they don't have the resources to maintain a whole delivery fleet. So this is like a on-demand delivery fleet that they have access to for free.
Wow.
Yeah, so nobody pays me anything, I just
No one
forward.
pays you anything, but the money goes straight to the drivers.
Yes, the drivers connect directly with the requesters. So the message, when I forward it out, it includes a link to the requester themselves. So you just click the link and you can talk to the requester immediately.
Wow, and is it, so it's fastest fingers first?
Well, in a way, fastest fingers first, but the requester will ask, where are you located right now? How long would it take for you to arrive? Yeah, they will ask questions like that.
Okay, that's good.
So
At
it's
least-
almost like delivery hitch, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite ingenious, and it's nice to see that it's crowdsourced. Obviously, it's quite taxing on you as an individual because you have to be on this round the clock. So it's kind of good that you don't have other events and things getting in the way at the moment, but you're not really making money from this. So what's in it for you for the long term? How long do you feasibly think you can keep this up?
Well, the government has said that they have extended the period where PHV drivers can do delivery. So at first I thought I was going to do it till June, right? Now they extended till September. So now I'm like, oh dear, till September. We need a way, like, you know, maybe more volunteers or you know, we can take turns, like taking hours to, you know, forward.
So I guess this is like an open appeal. If you are maybe some sort of app whiz or genius that could help Vivien out with creating a back-end platform, maybe, right? Like where people could just create
I spoke
something.
to somebody from Tick.sg because he's created an amazing program for F&B people to, you know, get on. And I've spoken to him and he's been thinking of it, but one limitation is that WhatsApp groups cannot be forwarded to. So the groups are there. So unless someone is able to create some kind of program and use the API, but WhatsApp is not releasing the API, you see.
True.
So that's the thing that we face at the moment.
Well, thinking caps on and fingers crossed a solution comes your way very soon. But I just want to say, on behalf of Singaporeans who have been affected by the collapse of a lot of different industries, and to those people that have had to resort to other ways of income, I'd like to thank you for this initiative. I mean, just going out there and setting this up wholeheartedly just because you genuinely want to help and make people happy, like, I cannot thank you enough, and I think it really just goes to show the spirit of SG United in a very, very warm way. So thank you for doing all the work that you're doing. Thank you to Hashi for joining us as well on the show. If anyone would like to help out with Vivien's cause, where can they can just go and look up Zephyrdom and then
you can
try and find
search
you online?
Zephyrdom, and there's a WhatsApp link to me.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show, Vivien. We're going to go off for a short break, but stick with us here on The Morning Show with Kelly and Barbara, because we come back after the break to break it down with you on this Tough Nut Thursday. Don't go away.
Step right up, draw the next card. You water the plant, we're animals, so get along with everybody else.
welcome back to the morning show with Kelly and Barbara. That was super fun.
Yeah, like I think it's a lot for someone to dedicate that sort of time and commitment to creating a platform that so many people can benefit from. I mean, think about it. So many Singaporeans have resorted to finding alternative ways of getting some form of income, and to have someone who is willing to supplement that and to try and help them find different ways.
And facilitate it.
Yeah, I mean, there are different organizations doing different parts. I mean, I came across one, Guoco Tower, you know the building in town.
Yes.
Right? So what they have done as a corporation is they are absorbing the delivery cost for their tenants, so that if you order from Guoco Tower, they will actually waive the delivery fee for the tenants themselves, so they don't have to worry about trying to pitch it out.
Yeah.
And they've actively created a platform so that you can order from up to 3 of the different restaurants in Guoco Tower at no additional charge.
And that's great, because then at least everyone in the family, you know, like the annoying part a lot of the time is that on delivery apps that, okay, I want this, you want that, and we can make multiple orders, but then you're paying multiple delivery fees.
Correct. Whereas for this one, you've got like 10 different restaurants or 12 different restaurants that you can choose from. So it's like, yeah, I'll have that one, and I'll have that one, and I'll have that one.
I think Claire posted the other day that she was feeling lazy, and she decided she'd have a wrap, and she ordered it, and then there was like a $40 delivery charge or something like that. It was just weird. Like, just for one meal, she was going to end up paying $50. She's like, no thanks, it's okay, I'll cook my own meal.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, times are tough, but speaking of tough, there isn't a tougher guy than Xiang, who's going to be breaking it down with us today with the Renegade Rows. Don't know what they are? It's okay. A lot of people don't, so it's okay. We're here to explain the ins and the outs. Let's take a look.
Right, and welcome to the segment what we call Break It Down, and my name is Xiang. So today I'll be spending a few minutes to share with you and to break down certain exercises that you might be doing at home or might want to try at home, and I'm going to make it into smaller parts so that we can understand the movements better, so that you can progress and improve in a very safe manner, and of course, it might fast-track your improvement as well. Right, so today's exercise is what we call a renegade roll. Okay, a renegade roll is actually something like a push-up, but instead of pushing yourself away from the ground, you're actually pulling the weight towards yourself from the ground. Okay, so few muscles that will be working, main muscle groups will be working. Same thing, shoulder nice and strong, your chest is engaged all times, okay? More importantly, your back muscles, because you'll be doing a lot of pulling action. And most important, when we are doing all this action, your core is always working at the same time, right? So it's not just an arm exercise, but it also is a core exercise. If you do it correctly, you're actually doing 2 main muscle groups. So just go down the floor, I'll show you how it's done, okay? So you have a weight, like a dumbbell would be nice, or maybe a 2 kg or some detergent bottle that you have. Make sure there's detergent in it. If not, it's just the bottle. Right, so what you want to do is get into a push-up position, but your palms will be narrow instead of a shoulder width, right? So nice and strong. Similar to your push-up, the theory is the same. Shoulders directly above your palms, hips low enough so that your torso and your legs are in one straight line. Being in this position, you should feel that your core is engaging already. Right? So from there, you want to stay nice and strong, okay? You're going to hold the weight, you're going to pull it up towards your rib cage and down and switch sides. As you can tell, as I'm pulling, my body is not moving too much, right? The movement of my body is a bit little, which is great. And how do you do that is when you are, for example, using my right hand to pull the weight up, firstly, try not to shift. Okay, let's do on the other side first, sorry. If I'm pulling the weight on my left hand, try not to shift your body weight too much to your right. Okay, because once we do this, all the load is on the shoulders, not much on your core. So what you want to do is to really keep your hips pressed down, even as you lift your hands off, pressing into that forearm that's on the floor. From there, pull. You should feel a very tight squeeze on your core and your hip and your shoulders, right? Pull. Right, this is too challenging. Let's do a regression. Knees down. Same thing, hip position is crucial. Push your hips downwards so your torso and your thigh is in one straight line. Similar, pull it up. As you can tell, as I'm pulling, my hips are not moving too much, right? So what you want to see wrong, this is wrong. As I pull, you can see that my body is lifting to the other side, my hips are opening. So you're sort of like swaying from side to side. You don't want to be swaying, right? You want to have nice controlled movements. One more time, right? Minimal movement from the hips. Next, if having a weight is too difficult, we can actually start, right, with a regression. Not so much of how much load you're carrying, but actually to learn how the movement is done before you progress to a weight. So even without a weight, do try it, right? As simple as knees on the floor, hips down, palms can be closer together, forming a diamond shape in front of you. Keep it down. You can just imagine pulling your elbows up, right? Get the tension on your core as you push, right? So now you are keeping your hips up. Instead of having 2 palms and 2 knees on the floor, now you have only 1 palm, 2 knees, which means now you have to engage your core, not to let it collapse, right? You don't want to collapse. You don't want it to swing from side to side, right? So for people who want to try, knees up, similar, right? Shoulders directly above your palm, lift, pressing strongly into the ground with the arm that is supporting you, and lifting the other elbow up, okay? For people who find that what's next, same thing, you can find a chair or a stool, which we have here, to do the renegade roll, because once your legs are above the ground, your body is elevated and the weight shifts forward to your core and to your shoulder, right? Which means they have to work a little bit harder. So this is how it looks like for progression, right? Be careful when you're using a stool, right? Make sure your feet together, nice and firm. Again, hips low enough so that your torso and your legs are straight, right? From there, same thing, press into the palm, right? That is on the floor, which is my left hand. I'll pull, I'll move, right? It gets harder. As you can see, I'm swaying a little bit, but I want to control nice and easy, pulling the barbell towards my rib cage. And the last one. And there we have the renegade roll. So to re-emphasize again, on your shoulders, your chest muscles are always contracted. As you're pulling the weight towards your rib cage, your core should be working. Do not sway from side to side. All right, so I hope you try it at home, video yourself, tag us at ActiveSG so that we know we can give you some advice if we see your movements, and hope you enjoy the segment. And it's back to Kelly and Barbara.
Thank you so much, Xiang.
Muscles stacked on muscles, stacked on muscles.
Well, definitely deserving of Tough Nut Thursday. We're wrapping it up today, but we will be back tomorrow.
Family
We've got
Friday.
a great lineup, including our Minister for Culture, Community and Youth, Grace Fu.
Jaina Chan will also be in with us talking about Anya meals. So it's a nice day, I think, tomorrow.
It is, and we're going to be getting your Zumba on as well with Faiz Aman. So make sure you join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. But for today, whatever it is you're doing, make sure you're staying safe, staying strong, and make sure you stay at home.